What up, everybody? It's Aaron here with Robert, and this is Get Your Geek On's discussion of Hawkeye episode 5.
Yeah, this one's just titled Ronin.
Ronin.
So, welcome to the spoiler discussion that we are going to have talking about episode 5. And there's big spoilers in this one. So if you have not watched the episode, go watch it and then come back and join the conversation as we talk about this crazy stuff. So this is your last warning, spoilers, because I know it's going to be the first thing Aaron talks about.
Yeah, I was going to wait. I'm going to try to wait.
We're going to tease it. We're going to hold it.
I mean, I can hold some bowling pins.
So let's get initial thoughts on episode 5. How did you feel about it?
I didn't like that it was another setup episode, I feel like, but it did remove some pawns off the table, which we kind of had to.
Yeah, we answered some of the mysteries,
right,
and got clarity on some things, but also, there's still a lot that's kind of up in the air.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm hoping episode 6 is just going to be like hit the ground running hard with a lot of action, finishing up a lot of these loose ends. Because I don't know if they're making a season 2 of this one or not, or if it's just going to go straight to the movies now or what. So I'm curious about all of that. So I do hope they kind of give us a lot of like loose ends tied up, and maybe like a post, kind of like WandaVision, like we have a post credit that leads into other stuff, which, Wanda leads into possibly Doctor Strange walking up to her and talking to her or somebody else. Yep. So I'm kind of hoping it leads into like maybe a Daredevil reference, like, oh yeah, now let me go deal with Hell's Kitchen or something. And that's like, wait, okay, so are we getting a Daredevil movie or another, series or what? So that's what I'm hoping for. But going with it, it was a little slow, but I did like the talkings. What about you? I did like some of the conversations, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with this series and with these last 2 episodes in particular, is like, this is all really good stuff. Yeah. But I think that because the action, especially in like episodes 2 and 3, was so good, and there was a lot of it, that these 2 have felt kind of like we're slowing down a lot, and so there's a lot of really good stuff going on, and everything going on with like the scene between Kate and Yelena was like a great scene, but it did also feel like, oh man, this is dragging a little bit, and I could use some more action kind of hitting in this. And so like, there's a lot of really good stuff in this episode, but it did feel kind of like one action scene light. Like I wanted one more, and I don't even know where it would have been, but even maybe just a quick face off between Kate and Yelena before they had their conversation, or just something. Yeah. It just felt like I was just missing like one little more action sequence, because I think the only one we got really is when Clint kind of takes down the tracksuit guys and fights Maya real quick. Like, that's really our only action sequence of this episode.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the first major, I guess, talk scene with Yelena and Kate. What did you think of that? Because I personally loved it. I think we got a little more of Yelena's character, how she is, and that she's still kind of that bubbly, fun, but I'm still gonna slit your throat kind of person, and I can do it whenever I want.
Yeah, I love her character. I loved her in Black Widow, and I think she's still bringing very strong energy to that character of, like, yes, she is playful and, like all of those things, but underneath it, she's an assassin. And she's also like you could tell, like, part of her being so bubbly and warm and all that was to put Kate off of her game, was to throw her off. Like, it was all calculated. Like, yes, that is part of who she is naturally, but it was also intended to mess with Kate. And I think it clearly did. So I think that was a really fun scene, and I love, there were a few great moments, and I love, and she kept saying Kate Bishop, and I loved Kate being like, are you just saying my name to prove that you can? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I know everything about you. And and I like that they both kind of planted seeds of doubt for the other one, like, with Yelena basically saying, like, Clint is not who you think he is, except that Clint kind of told Kate who he was last episode.
Yeah.
And he, so he's kind of owned up to that dark side of who he is, so that none of that is coming necessarily as a shock to Kate. But on the other side, where you have, Kate kind of planting those seeds of doubt in Yelena, which she probably already had, because I mean, you can tell later on in the episode, Clint knows that Natasha's sister is Yelena. So this is clearly a relationship he had talked about with her. You have to assume that, she had some conversations with Yelena about Clint as well. We even see a couple of those in Black Widows. She talks about how they hid up, together in that little spot that they were hiding out in, for a couple days. So, I think Yelena knows that the two of them had a close relationship, and so I have to imagine that on some level she's not just going to take at face value what was told to her, that that he killed Natasha, but I think she does think that he's responsible in some way. And so I liked the dynamic of both of them kind of planting those seeds of doubt.
Right. And I do want to say, like, Yelena's character kind of also bounces off a conversation, a small conversation we have with Clint and Echo, how he's like, we're both the same. We're trained killers, essentially. We're trained to kill. We're trained to hurt people. Mm-hmm. But that anger can be misled. It could be used as a weapon against us. And Yelena's like that. Like, let's face it, her sister's dead. She shows up after 5, but in her scene, I like how she said it. I've been gone 5 seconds and it's 5 years. Like, we get someone actually commenting like, I was just in the bathroom. Like, what happened?
That was a fascinating glimpse into yet another like blipped character, because we saw that with like Monica in showing up in the hospital, like and being totally disoriented and like what's going on and all that stuff. And this was another one where you have this character who is always very sure of her surroundings, very like just very confident in what's going on, and just having a complete like, what just happened. And so I mean, it kind of adds a little bit more depth to Natasha making some of the choices she made in Endgame, knowing that she was now missing her sister. And so and I love that was the first thing she did when she came back, is like, I have to find Natasha. So clearly they continued to be close, in that intervening period.
And that's why I like it, because she's full of rage. Somebody is to blame for Natasha's death. I want to blame, and like you said, she wants to blame Clint, but she knows Natasha and him are friends, so it's not really her. But it's like, I accept the assignment because I need someone to blame, and he's there to kind of blame. And I feel like she's the same way. She's at that pointed rage part, and unfortunately she doesn't get the conversation from Clint like he does to Echo, like, hey. And I did like that. I was informed by somebody in your organization. There was an informant, and that's how he knew where her dad was and to go kill the tracksuit mafia. And I think now Yelena's kind of waking back up, like, okay, I'm being used again. Let me like wake up and investigate who is hiring me. And then when it's Eleanor Bishop, which obviously she has to know is Kate's mom, and she kind of comments she knows her everything. So it's like,
she even at that point in the scene, the earlier scene, she says like, this, your mom Eleanor who lives here, your dad Jack who's deceased, like, so she knows that it's her. I will say, like, that was one of the things that obviously we got confirmation this episode. We've been confident all along that Kate's mom was shady. And so this is now confirmation that yes, when Hawkeye left the penthouse, she made a phone call, and whether that call was directly to the Contessa or was to Kingpin or someone in his organization, like that's where the ball got rolling. I think she called Fisk. And then, he's got the contact with, the Contessa and kind of manipulated all that. And I did think that it was really interesting to have that scene that you talked about with, kind of Clint telling Maya, like, I was used by someone in your organization to take these people out. And so as we had kind of speculated, like, that was a machination of Fisk. We were like, was it Clint or was it someone else, pretending to be Ronan? No, it seems like it definitely was Clint, but he was kind of manipulated into doing it. And at that point in his life, he probably was rage filled and grief filled. And if he gets a chance to kill some bad guys, he doesn't really care who's making him do it. Right. So he may have even known he was being manipulated into doing it, and just not really caring. But I love that he's pointing that out to Maya at the same time that we know that's happening with Yelena as well. Like she's being, manipulated by the same people to take pieces off the board. It was like, okay, we're going to use Ronan to take, these Maya's dad off the board. And now we're going to use, Yelena and Maya to take Ronan off the board. Like it's like this big circle as, which is totally Wilson Fisk. Like it's totally Kingpin.
And we've said his name, and she sends the text. Let's go to the end. I mean, there's a lot of juicy stuff in the middle, but let's go to the end real quick. She sends the hey, thought you should know it was Eleanor, and she shows a picture, and we don't see it at first, but she's like, "Who's this with?" My mom hands it to Hawkeye, who's commented earlier in the episode, "I don't want this guy to come on the field," kind of thing.
Yeah, several times throughout this series, they've teased the big guy, the guy at the top, he says, "This is the guy I was worried was gonna get involved."
Name drops Kingpin, and we see Vincent D'Onofrio.
So worried they were gonna cut before he said anything or before he showed anything, and I love that he just says Kingpin. We see that it's kind of a grainy image.
Oh, it's him.
But it's definitely Vincent D'Onofrio. And when you get to the credits, his name is in the credits. Like it was 100% Vincent D'Onofrio coming back after playing Wilson Fisk on the Netflix Daredevil series. So.
Now, my speculation is, and you saw it too, it's a play button. We're not seeing an image. It's a video.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the next episode is going to start with him hitting play, and we're going to get a small few seconds of Fisk and her talking.
Yeah, I think... honestly, I think that's going to be the only Fisk we get in the series.
Yeah.
Because what I think that we're really doing is we're setting up Maya's story for her series Echo.
Yeah.
Because I kind of think we won't see her again in this series. No. Based on the way her story ended, she had her confrontation with Ronan. She then confronts Kazi very pointedly, like, "Why weren't you there?" Which was kind of one of those things I'm like, haven't you asked him that question before?
Haven't you thought about that for the last few years?
But yeah, she's like, and you can tell Kazi is like, "Oh shit," like she figured it out.
He's freaking out.
And so, like she tries to play it off like, "No, it was just, I'm just thinking about it," kind of thing. But
randomly sitting in this parking lot.
He knows 100% she's onto him. And so I
would
think
have killed him just right there. I would have killed him.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know that much about her yet, so we're gonna see. But I think that this might be the end of her storyline in this series, and
she's off the board.
Then we'll get like some kind of post credits, or we'll just get in her series. I think Kingpin's gonna play a big role in that because obviously she's gonna be looking for revenge on him,
on her uncle. So yeah, I think you're right. She's removed from the board. I'm wondering though, now again, that was the end. We get to see Kingpin. We're all excited. I didn't think it broke the internet, but I think I'm excited. I don't know about break internet excited, but I'm excited. But
I mean, I think it would have broken the internet more if Kevin Feige hadn't confirmed that Charlie Cox was going to be Daredevil like a week ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Because as soon as he said that, it was like, okay, now all of these other pieces and rumors that we've heard, it feels a lot more real. And so, like, even though well before he said that, we were speculating about Vincent D'Onofrio coming back. Once he said that, it was like, well, okay. Yeah, if they've already confirmed they're reaching into the Netflix universe, of course they're going to bring Vincent.
Now we're just waiting for John Berthenol. We're waiting for Punisher to come out. That's it. That's all I'm waiting on.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think that one's tied up with a bow yet. I think these two, obviously, but I think based on some recent comments, I wouldn't be surprised if there's still some negotiations going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but going back more toward the middle, Kate tells her mom that, hey, something's wrong with Jack. He's hiding secrets. Yeah. He has this shell company. Can you at least look into it? So she does.
I have to ask you, is Jack just a complete patsy? Like, is he being genuine when he says, like, I don't know what this is. I'm just like, somebody framed me. Somebody set me up. Like, because I think like the more I look at his actions throughout the series, the more he feels just kind of like a spoiled rich kid who's always been able to get whatever he wants and not necessarily an evil mastermind.
He's not going to be a mastermind, but he's still a villain. And I think he knows just enough to not get caught. So it's not like he's going to say.
Yeah. I just wonder if he's not a villain at this point, but he's going to become one. Like at this point, is he just totally like he's literally just been a patsy his whole life, and he was set up whether by his uncle or by Eleanor, whatever. And now he's trying to like, and now after this, as he's been betrayed by people that he thought loved him, is that going to turn him more into kind of a villainous? I don't know.
I can see that. I mean, I think he's off the board too, though. I don't think we're going to get much more of him, if anything. I think
we need to.
You think so?
I think we need to.
So you think the last episode we'll see him though?
I do. Episode. I think him and Eleanor have to have some kind of confrontation. I think and have some sort of whether they have been whether they've been in cahoots this whole time. Or whether they've been at opposite ends and they have to kind of have a conflict. I don't know. I think we need a scene.
Here's what
and we haven't seen him sword fight. We have to get, we need a sword fight with him.
Here's what I'm feeling is one, I don't think he's a patsy. I think he's not like villain level yet. Like I'm a master. He's never gonna be a mastermind evil villain. He's not gonna be the kingpin. He's gonna always be like, I'm your sword. Go hire me to go kill people. I'm a mercenary. But I do think him and Eleanor are in on it because we see, and the only reason is because of the camera trick. We see Kate's like, I'm so sorry, Mom, for what's happening, and she's hugging her. But we really don't get any facial like expressions from Eleanor. We don't see like, I'm upset, I'm crying, I'm hurting. Like, no, it's kind of like she knows, and she knows Jack's gonna get out.
Oh, 100%. Like that was the thing that actually made me think he was a patsy is the first scene where Kate's telling her that Jack might be involved with this, like bad stuff. And Eleanor is just like stone faced, like, okay, I'll look into it. And it's like, she already knows like exactly what this, and so that was, it almost made me feel like, oh, this is another piece that I've tried to like, another opportunity for me to hide this behind. And it kind of brings back to maybe what Armand was so mad about at the beginning. Like maybe he found out that she was using Jack in some way, like, so that's, I don't know. Like we have no clarity on what happened to Armand still, even though that was kind of the opening mystery. So,
and that's maybe it'll come back around, but I think her and Jack are in on it together. I think this was all a ploy just to make Kate start trusting her mom again, so she wouldn't question anything. Like, oh yes, honey, I believe you now. Look, Jack's going to jail. If he gets out, it's just because he's that good. Like he either has enough money, he has enough pull, because all he has to do, if somehow he's connected to Kingpin, make that phone call. Hey, I'm in jail. Get me out. Kingpin's like, again? And he's gonna be like, yeah. He's like, fine. Calls up a couple of NYPD guys. Are like, oh yeah, you messed up. You didn't do the paperwork. He's free. And he gets to go home.
I think Eleanor doesn't put him in jail without Kingpin say so.
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna be one of those, he'll get out, and that's when he'll become the villain, because Kingpin's gonna make him break out, so he'll be on the run. So he'll be like, okay, I gotta come to villain status now, something like that. But I think they're all connected. What I'm thinking is if we're gonna get Eleanor dead at the end of this one, because now she's become a liability. So I do see Kingpin like she might need to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think that could be important to Kate's relationship moving forward. Is still having her mom and having that kind of trust broken, because I mean that's the big shocker at the end of this, is not just that, like to us it's like Kingpin, but to her it's like my mom is connected to organized crime. And is like, this is very shocking for her. So I hope that they don't kill her off, because I think that could be an interesting dynamic moving forward. But I do want to touch on the scene between Clint and Laura, where they make that phone call, and once again they're just like teasing that there's obviously something going on with her, and and so it really is starting to, it's making me really wonder
if she's Mockingbird.
Where, well, I read a theory and I kind of like it.
Okay.
That's just kind of almost like the Mockingbird moniker is almost like the Black Widow moniker, and so it's like multiple people can have it. So she doesn't have to necessarily have to be Bobby Morse. Doesn't necessarily have to conflict with what has been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if they want to keep that on the board. And just that there were multiple Mockingbirds.
I could live with that.
I thought that was kind of an interesting theory. But yeah, I'm very confused because that watch like doesn't look like a woman's watch, as we've talked about before. Yeah. And so it's like, why is this watch so, like, maybe it's Kingpin's watch? And I mean, I just like, because why is he after it? Because again, that's where this all started, is well before Ronan got re-involved in this situation. They were after that watch. So why were they after that watch? That's the question that still hasn't been answered.
And see, I have two things that I didn't like about this episode, and one of them is the link to the watch. The first one is, where the hell is the Ronin suit after he beats him? It's just gone. Like, I took it off and he's walking down the alley, no backpack, nothing. The suit's just off of him after he did this big fight with Echo. And it's like, wait, where'd you put the suit? You were like trying to keep it, and now it's just, don't worry about it. It's just gone. So you know me, I pick those little things. And then one that you pick at, and that they didn't even comment on this one though. You said in the last episode, Kate had the watch in her pocket.
Yeah, we never.
No one's mentioned it again. That like, you're holding this watch.
We only get like, again, Hawkeye. Clint talks about it with Laura. Is like they had the watch and they had research on our family, but then he doesn't say anything about where the watch is, or and we don't see anything more than it's like where. What are we talking about? Like,
you know where it is? Kate said, I got it as she left. And then it was like, I got the watch. Oh, hey, there's this stuff on your family. We're never going to talk about the watch again. I told you I got it.
Yeah.
I do want there to be a joke of that and be like, why are you like so worried about where this watch is? I told you I had it. Like, I want her to comment on it.
I don't know.
Just to be a running joke. Like, you were just dumb and forgot. But I know it's not going to happen. It's a plot.
I'm very... this is the thing where with this series is we've got one episode left. I don't know, like we've got threads to tie up, like the watch thread, like the Armand murder thread, and obviously the Yelena thread, and I'm like, how are all of those going to intersect? Like, how is all of this going to play out? Because I feel like the end of this series, we're gonna, set Maya up for her series, which I think they already did, but she could come back for maybe one more scene.
Small chance.
Obviously, we're gonna set up Kate for where she's gonna go next as being, kind of a young Avenger, a young hero. And then Clint's got to get back to his family for Christmas, which means they have to be not in danger anymore. Which means, and so it's just one of those things where I'm like, where are we going with this?
And then to top it off too, we are still they've commented on it already. The suits are ready. So that means we still need a big fight scene with him in the suit, his new Hawkeye suit and hers. So it's like, we need this big, huge fight. We need to close up 3 other threads. We've seen, I think, a glimpse where it looks like they're standing on ice together, right? In one of the trailers.
Yeah,
and he has that suit on.
And that's the thing is, like, we've pretty much taken down the Tracksuit Mafia. So who is their final, like, is it going to be like,
unless Jack comes and fights them both?
Yeah, I don't know. Or like, is there going to be a Kingpin, like maybe a Bullseye?
Now, that's who I'm wondering right there. Like, that's what I was going to say is, we know Kingpin's on the field now. So we know Daredevil's going to be on the field because of Kevin Feige. And we know now Netflix has already tied Daredevil to this. We know that, or Netflix is tied from that one at least. That means Bullseye is running around in this universe now. So it makes me wonder if this is how they are going to tease Bullseye, is that they're going to fight a mysterious kind of person who is deadly accurate. And that's going to be Bullseye. And I'm wondering if that's what we're going to get. Maybe not Jack, but Jack will come later in another series or something, but maybe a Bullseye hit. I mean, that's what I'm wondering, if we're going to get Bullseye.
Yeah. And that's where, like, it really feels like the central conflict, each character needs kind of that central conflict. And so, like, for Kate, it's going to be her mom.
Yeah.
But who is it for Hawkeye? Like, is it Kingpin? But I don't know what that fight would look like. Like Kingpin fighting Hawkeye doesn't like scream to me like that's gonna happen. Like, and so it's a weird thing because I don't think we're gonna get an action sequence with Kingpin.
No,
and
because
so,
I mean he's also not. Yeah. Yes, he can fight. We've seen that in the Netflix. So yes, he could kill a normal person like nothing.
Sure.
Because he's not super strong, but he is very strong for a human. He can lift a lot. But again, yeah, you're good with your fist, but I can put an arrow in your head 300 feet away. Like right. You said, that's not a fight. It's a Daredevil fight because Daredevil has to get close. It's not a Hawkeye fight.
So then is it going to be like Hawkeye versus Yelena, but we still need to resolve the thing with Kingpin? Like, and so that's where I'm just like, I'm like, what is this going to look? I don't know what it's going to look like. And I'm still excited for this finale because I think, again, it's been a lot of like this series has been a lot of fun and there's a lot of interesting things happening. I just like this is the one where I feel like I have no idea how this is going to end.
They took 2 pawns off. Let's say they don't bring Jack back. I mean, you lose Echo and Jack, so we got those pawns off the field. We have the entire Tracksuit Mafia off the field. So who is left? But someone we just brought out as Kingpin and Yelena, and it's like Yelena's storyline. I don't see it tying with Hawkeye in a big fight scene. I see it more of like a fight talk scene, like they talk as they fight and then they resolve the issue through talking, like not a death. And I would be honestly sad if that's how we end it. Like it's not like a big, oh yeah, I beat the bad guy. It's like, okay, I forgive you. Like that's gonna be my end. No, I don't see that.
Well, and part of the problem with that is like Hawkeye doesn't forgive himself. Like exactly. You see even in this episode is he's kind of standing at that memorial site and he's, talking to Natasha and he's basically, you could tell he's got survivor's guilt. He's got, PTSD, like all this stuff. And, he's talking about trying to, live every day to make it worth it, worth her sacrifice, which totally gave me Saving Private Ryan vibes.
Oh yeah, it did.
But it was one of those things where I'm just like, so, I don't know. Because I feel like he still doesn't necessarily want to live in this and so like how is he going to convince Yelena not to kill him if he doesn't really it's like so
that's why I've said like I don't know if he's going to live at the end of this episode or the end of the series.
He absolutely is. He's got to get home to his kids,
but I don't see it happening. I mean, and again, I like darker stuff. I've said that several times. In my thing, Hawkeye would be dead.
This is a Christmas like series with it's been light. Like we're not killing Hawkeye.
But maybe that's the whole point. It's been light because we're about to get the really, really dark episode.
We're gonna kill Grills. He dies in the comic.
I mean, yes.
But
no, please.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the LARPers will show up to try and help them, and they'll just all die immediately.
They all come
like, no, this is real life. This is not play, guys.
I'm kind of I hope they do something. Like they've been the comedic relief in it, and we got one more episode. Well, this last episode, Hawkeye's talking to that main guy again, and they have a conversation. But it's like maybe the cops will come out, but then I feel like the cops are corrupt because Kingpin's here now. Like he owns like half of NYPD. It feels like every time we see him. So
and I just need, like it feels like up to this point, Kate hasn't really felt the consequences like Hawkeye has.
That's why Hawkeye's gonna die.
So whether it's her mom, innocence being like the LARPers that she kind of brought into this, like like it could be some. Or like maybe it could even be Jack, and like you find out that he has been a patsy this whole time, and then he dies, and it's her fault for so again like I don't know what it's gonna be.
Hawkeye dies, and he never made it home to his family.
Hawkeye's not going to die.
If he dies, you might have to buy me dinner if he dies, like a nice dinner.
That's fine.
Okay,
I'm not worried about it. What do you wait? If he doesn't die, do I get anything?
Respect that he didn't die. On that note, though, we've been talking a while about this one. I know it was a big one, but we're gonna wrap it up here. So definitely come back after you watch the last episode next week, because by then too, Spider-Man will be out. Woo! So see if there's gonna be, I doubtful, but maybe some tie-ins.
There was a very brief mention that Yelena had about, the new and improved Statue of Liberty, which we saw in a Spider-Man trailer that the Statue of Liberty was holding Captain America's shield. So they did kind of tie just very little bit.
A little bit thread.
That's interesting. But yeah, we'll see if any other, either characters or settings or references are made with Spider-Man. We're seeing that. On Thursday night, we'll have a review up sometime in the weekend. We got to figure out when we're going to record it and how it's going to be released, but sometime hopefully on the weekend we'll have that review up on YouTube. So
yeah, that'll be up. So on that note, definitely check out everything that we do, Official GYG, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And of course, I'm Aaron, that's Robert, and this is Get Your Geek On. And stay geeky, guys, and get your geek on.
Bye.